So today we're going to tell you how to save thousands of dollars when you start overlanding by doing your mods yourself. So when we were first looking at getting into overlanding, one of the things we had to ask ourselves was, how much is this going to cost? And when we started looking at the modifications that we wanted to do to the vehicle, we realized that taking them into a shop or a garage to have these upgrades done was going to cost almost as much as the parts themselves. So this was going to almost double the cost for doing these types of modifications. So other than doing some like bolt-on aftermarket accessories on some other vehicles we had, I had never worked on vehicles before, and in my mind I thought there is no way I'd be able to do these upgrades on my own. But because of the costs involved and because we really wanted to get into overlanding, I said, you know what? I'm gonna have to try.
In this video, we're gonna show you some of the best upgrades and mods for your overlanding vehicle that could save you thousands, regardless of your experience level of working on cars. If you're new to our channel, please subscribe to get the best overlanding, travel, and outdoor adventure content each week.
And be sure to stay tuned to the end of this video because we're gonna show you one modification for recovery gear that we don't see done very often, but we think it's well worth it. So on our Jeep Wrangler here, there is one modification that I didn't do myself, and that's the suspension. And honestly, if I would have had a lift and maybe the tools, I might have tried it, but I did take it into a shop to get the suspension done. So the first modification that I tackled on the Jeep was the bumpers, and I honestly have never done, bumpers before, but I figured it wouldn't be that hard. And what you'll find is when you get up under here, you'll see that your bumpers are really just put on with a few large bolts. So if you have a socket set in your garage, you could probably get up in there. You might have to have a breaker bar depending on what you're doing, but you can literally pull the old bumper off. And then I did this all by myself. I basically put the new bumper on, balanced it on there, and then tightened it down and made sure it was straight. But again, this is a super simple modification that you can do, and it doesn't require taking it into a garage and spending a bunch of money to do it. You can do it at home in your garage if you have a socket set. And the same thing when you're looking at doing, side armor or side steps, it was really just simple. I mean, it was bolt on. So for this, I did have somebody help me because of just how long it is and the way it's set up. It is kind of a two-man lift. Somebody's got to hold it up there while you're putting it on. But again, this is only a couple of bolts you need to do. So again, if you got a socket set in your garage, you can literally bolt these on in a matter of an hour or two, and you've done an easy modification. You don't have to spend a ton of money to go in and have this done. And the same thing with the rear bumper. I mean, this is, again, it's got brackets on here to basically hold the rear bumper in place while you bolt it on. Now, the one thing, this is a Smittybilt SRC. I believe it's the mod 2 or the version 2 bumper that I put on here. So this does have auxiliary backup lighting, which that did come with a harness, but literally all this it's a plug and play harness. That harness then goes routed up under your vehicle and then mounts and connects into the battery. So with the rear bumper, this had a few more steps than the front bumper. Again, if you don't want to do the backup lighting, you don't have to, but it is a nice option. But again, real simple to do. I mean, you basically set it in place, tighten down the bolts, and you've just done your bumper upgrade without having to spend a lot of money. Okay, so the second modification I want to talk about is a winch. And when it comes to a winch, we said this on other videos when we first got into overlanding, people said, start with recovery gear, get your recovery gear first, because that's the stuff that's going to save your life when you're out in, remote areas. Worry about the recovery gear first before you start getting all the tents and all that type of stuff. So the next modification we did after the bumpers was the winch. And with the winch, it's really simple because a lot of bumpers these days either have holes already pre-drilled or they have a cutout for a winch, and really all it is you set it in place, you tighten it up. And the hardest part about doing your own installation of a winch is you pretty much have to, the power wires, you have to route underneath your grill and then up through and mount and attach onto your battery. But again, that stuff is super simple to do. It probably took me 20 minutes at most to set this in place tighten down the bolts, you know, tuck the power wire underneath our grill, and then hook it up to the battery. So super simple upgrade. It can be done in, you know, literally under an hour, and it's something that's very important. Again, like we said, you want to have proper recovery gear when you go out and you start overlanding. So next modification we went with was the roof rack, and we went with the roof rack because obviously it gives you, you know, more of an ability to store things, to put things up top. And again, if you want to do anything like a rooftop tent, you're going to have a roof rack to be able to support the weight of that. So I'll be honest, this one was probably the most time consuming, and it was probably a little bit intimidating just because there's so many parts that come with this. When they ship it, you have to put it all together, and then you have to basically make sure everything's going the right way and get it set up on your roof and do the drilling and install it. Now, I enlisted my son in this to help me out, and so this was a two-person you know, build in order to do this, but we probably did it in an afternoon, and I think that was partly because at one point we got it all set up, and then we realized we had some of the slats backwards, and so we had to redo some stuff. But overall, it wasn't that bad. Now, the one thing when you go, if you're going to be doing a roof rack yourself, with a lot of these roof racks, you may have to drill through your roof. So that's one thing, is you want to, you know, measure twice, drill once. A lot of the roof racks give you a template or a guide you can use when you're doing your holes, and you really want to use that so you get it lined up. You know, measure it 2-3 times, make sure it's in the right spot, use the guide or the template that comes with your roof rack, and then you go ahead and drill your holes. But again, this, just because of the amount of stuff we had to put together, because we were doing drilling, probably took us about a half day. But again, if we would have had this installed, I think it was like $1,000 to get one of these installed at a shop. So we did it in an afternoon. Again, never done this before, looked at some YouTube videos, looked at the instructions, and we were able to figure it out. So this is a way you can save money and get your roof rack on. So next is the auxiliary lighting. We went with these A-pillar lights versus the whole full light bar on top, just because a lot of people that I talked to that had the light bar said they make a lot of noise, and they didn't necessarily like them. So we just went with the A-pillar mounted lights instead. So honestly, these I was a little nervous about, because when it comes to electricity, I don't know why, it's just something with me and electricity. I've had some bad experiences with it. So anytime I'm doing electrical work, I get a little bit nervous. So almost all of these lights come with a shielded waterproof wire lead that's coming out of them, and these basically get tucked in behind most of the time it's behind your trim, or in the front they may go up under your grill. Then you may have to get some wire from the hardware store or whatever to finish it out and to connect it to the battery. What I did, and you can see in the front here, what I did with these, because it wasn't waterproof and I did have kind of these leads that were going in underneath the grill, I did add some waterproof loom and then use electrical tape to kind of give this better waterproofing. So if the wires are a positive and a negative, they connect onto, you know, another piece of wire that you would get. And then I hooked these up to a wiring harness, which then goes to the back of a switch panel. And the hardest thing about all of this was probably getting all these lights. I had to kind of splice the wires together to have one connection. So then when they went to the auxiliary panel in the Jeep, when I flipped it on, they all came on at the same time. So you know how that goes. You put all the wires together, and then you basically cap them off, attach them to a wiring harness. The wiring harness goes on the back of the auxiliary panel, and that's how you do it. And again, this may sound confusing. I looked at YouTube videos, I looked at some of the instructions. Personally, I think that a lot of the instructions weren't that helpful when it comes to doing these things. It's a lot easier to watch a YouTube video of somebody doing it. Super easy modification. You don't have to take this into a shop. This stuff, I know electrical work especially, was probably some of the most expensive stuff I looked at. And I was almost, I was gonna do it because I really don't like doing electrical work. I was afraid I was gonna short something out or mess something up. But because of the cost, I did go, and I did this on my own, and it ended up saving us a lot of money. So next modification I wanna talk about is this dual battery setup that we have from Genesis Off-Road. Now, not everybody does this. Some people look for some solar options, but because of a lot of the accessories we were running, and because we wanted to be able to charge things like, cell phones or computers or camera gear when we were out, we decided to go with this dual battery setup. Now, this right here was actually, a super simple thing. I know it looks really complicated when you look at all this, but the system we got, basically you pull out your old battery. There's a metal bracket that they send with this kit that then allows you to get both batteries side by side under here, as you can see. And then this piece on top is really the hardest part, but this all comes pre-done for you. So all you really have to do is set this on top, connect it to the batteries, and you have a dual battery setup. And if you don't know what the dual battery setup is, all it is you have one battery that's your normal battery that's cranking the engine and giving you power. The auxiliary battery is going to any type of accessories you may have, like a winch or auxiliary lighting or charging things. And what it also allows you to do is, if your crank battery, the battery you're using to start your vehicle, if that ever goes dead, you can actually jump your battery from the auxiliary battery as well. So it's a nice option. Again, it probably looks like a lot going on here, but it's really just dropping 2 batteries in and then basically connecting the 2 batteries together, and it all comes as one kit. Don't be intimidated. Again, I think Genesis Off-Road does some really good videos on YouTube on how to do this, and you can absolutely do this by yourself if this is something you're interested in. So as promised, we're gonna talk about that last modification that we don't typically see a lot of people talking about, and that is this stealth rack by Dominion Off-Road. And what this does is it allows you to mount your recovery gear inside and up on top of your roll bar. So what you typically see is a lot of people will mount like their high lift jack or a shovel will either be mounted outside on their bumper or up on their roof rack. But the problem you have with that is you're exposing it to the elements, or you literally have to put it on and take it off each time you go out. So what we really like about this stealth rack is it literally just bolts onto your roll bar, and then you're able to put your shovel, your high lift jack, even you can put other accessories up on this thing too. It's all up in an area on top where it's not, you know, it's not taking up space where you'd want to put maybe some other things in. It's out of the way and it's keeping it out of the elements, and it's a really great design and a modification. Again, this is something you just bolt on. You you loosen up the bolt on your roll bar, put the brackets on, tighten the bolt back on, and now you have this ability to mount your high lift jack and your shovel inside and keep it out of the weather, and it's always there whenever you need it.
I hope some of those DIY mods and upgrades Lance showed you were helpful, and if you've done any mods of your own, we want you to please leave a comment down below and let us know what they were, as we all learn from one another. And please subscribe, and don't forget to like this video, and as always, stay crazy, guys.